You've been to Africa?
I will be going to Africa this year. Congo,
Really?
the Republic of Congo. I will be
Exciting.
there by the end of the year, yes. And then I have a cousin in Egypt, so actually I don't know how that's gonna work. Thanks for having me.
This is my privilege. So, no. Oh. Oh no. Why is this not? I'm not getting. For some reason.
Scroll down. Anyway, what I was saying is it's still supposed to be around.
Oh. Hello, 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 hello. How's everybody doing? And I am here with the lovely Jessica Dupree.
Hello everyone, such a pleasure to be here.
And
today.
I am looking glazed-eyed because I've got to figure out how to be more. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I figured it out. Now if I could just. There we go. Hey, I did it. Yay. All right. I am learning to be very, very futuristic and very modern with my internets. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I've figured out how to work the internets and how they work. I've got people helping me. Yes, I need a reboot. I'm my worst enemy. You got to start using full words. I don't know how to read all these little abbreviations
I think
here.
they're saying they have a little hard time hearing, so we put the mic in the
Oh,
middle.
okay. So,
Thank you, LaQuay,
yeah.
for the compliment.
You know what? I'm just going to do this because I enjoy holding the microphone a lot more than folks
Okay.
know.
All right.
And I'm sure Jessica doesn't mind holding a microphone either.
No, I do not.
Okay, wait. Jessica, you're a singer, which is something that I didn't realize. Hold on, let me just continue to work this around.
I think the camera.
Oh, it's all right. I'm going to.
We need what's
Oh, the
name?
camera.
Where's
Oh,
the
what happens to
technician?
the camera?
You pulled
Oh.
it with the.
Oh, okay. It's all right. Hello. Oh. Okay. Jessica, are you happy?
Yes.
Okay. I'm happy too. Okay. So, all right. Oh, Lord. Let's see here. I know someone who's going to be very upset at me for messing up his perfect framing.
Oh, I know just who that is.
Yeah. I tend to be naughty, and then someone has to, come fix it up once I've made a mistake. Okay, squeeze in closer.
Okay.
And now that I've got the microphone, I'm not going to allow anyone to separate me from my voice and my words that I've been having for a long time, that God has blessed me with, that I'm going to impart with you, ladies and gentlemen. I want to introduce you to the lovely Jessica. And, I see someone has come in here and is fixing it. Yeah, someone wants to get me centered. I don't know who that is. But all right, so Jessica, thank you so much for being here on
Thank
the
you
Allen
for
Show tonight.
having me.
I didn't want to interrupt this at all. I am going to sing a song. Oh my God, we've got Damian Gomes on here. Ladies and gentlemen, one of my dear friends, Damian Gomes, an
Hello,
amazing
Damian.
artist, a painter. You see the painting right outside the door
Yes,
here?
I do.
That's Damian. And I probably have more Damian Gomes and Anthony Eve Kemp. I've got 3 Damian Gomes, and I've got 3. And the only reason why I was able to get these, because Damian now, his work is going for a lot more money, I'm sure. And then Anthony Eve Kemp is also someone who's going, oh, there's new messages down here. Oh, I see that I'm My Worst Enemy, one of our very dear friends, says you look very familiar. I'm going to give the mic to Jessica.
Hello, how are we? First of all, thank you, Alan, so much for having me on your show. I'm so excited ever since I met you. Something very special about you. I knew you were someone that was truly gifted with a beautiful heart. And then I fell in love with him even more at the event when he got on the stage and began to sing. I was like, okay, Luther Vandross, Kenny Lattimore, all of you love, Babyface, you guys better watch out.
I'll take that mic now. Thank you very much. I don't like to, the funny thing is and thank you very much for those compliments, because I can't say that. I mean, these singers, Kenny Lattimore, Luther. I don't know if
They
I
are
can.
not better singers than you are.
Well, okay, all right. So I'm gonna blush. Jessica, the reason why you're here
Yes.
is because you and I share a platform, an energetic platform. We've been talking about how there's the platform on the internet, and there's the platforms that you jump up on to catch a train or a plane. This is an energetic platform,
Yes.
and it's the energetic platform of unconditional love.
Yes, it is.
And we were talking, we had a little dinner right before. One of the great things about being able to do the Allen Show is that we can have a little dinner, and then we can do the show. And we were talking about kind of how you stumbled upon the importance of, oh my God, Jamie Stevens is here. You know what, I want to thank everyone for coming on. I want to acknowledge everyone on here. The crazy thing about this is, this whole experience is that James Stevens,
Okay.
who's a very dear friend of mine from way
Hi,
back in
James.
college, or actually high school, and now to think that we've been out of high school 35 years, which is just extraordinary. I can't even believe it. And then, my dear friend Damian Gomes, who is his work is exquisite. I'm talking about, and of course it's museum quality, and his stars is up and coming. Yes, I know. I tell you, I haven't since high school. I have not changed one little bit. You said no stories. Yes, you know me well, James. Yes, everyone say hello to James. Everyone say hello to Damian Gomes.
Hello,
everyone
James.
Say hello to I'm My Worst Enemy, who we just call Enemy because we know him so well, and LaQuay the Wise, which we just call LaQuay. And my dear friend Lisa's on here right now, one of the great spirits on here. Everyone on here is so cool. I mean,
yes.
Look at your audience. Look at what you've brought to the table. You know what I'm saying? And Jessica Dupree, I met her because I was doing, I had at one point in one of my past lives, I had a magazine, and a very good magazine. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, I agree.
Yes,
it was different. It was different.
Yes. Oh my God. Okay, and we got G Savory on here now. So anyway, Jessica Dupree, I decided that I wanted to do an issue, a whole issue of the magazine on women in music, because I felt like we had. Well, first of all, I was starting to realize that women are having a moment, and that they've never had before. I think that I don't feel like women's moment is past, but I feel like now we're starting to see, and we're going to talk about all of this, and that's the reason why I wanted to dedicate the full hour, because when you meet Jessica, you are going to she's got so much to say, and she's right on point with all of it, you know what I'm saying? Oh, thank you so much, James, for your kind words. And you and I need to meet up, I think. I definitely think we need to see each other and, speak on the phone. Why don't you whisper to me or send me something on Instagram here with your phone number so we can talk. But everyone, Jessica is, I met her because she was the publicist.
The publicist for Nandi.
That's right. Now tell us a little bit about Nandi.
Wow, Nandi was such an incredible young talent. By the age of 12, she was already DJing at the White House for the likes of the Obamas. When she was 9 years old, she graduated from Jam Master Jay's Scratch Academy. And so what I saw was history in the making. Mm-hmm. And so for you guys to honor her, it was surreal.
Yeah, and she was probably, I remember her photo shoot, yes. And I remember how great with her mom there, because her mother had to go everywhere with her because she was so young. Yes. And then that's how I met Jessica, because Jessica was working as her publicist, a very great publicist, by the way. And we're going to talk about all this because there's a lot going on in the world right now. We've seen the world completely change. And one of the things when I began to start having the initial conversations about doing the stream show, was we discovered that for children, I believe 10 years old and younger, when they're asked now, what do you want to be? When I was young, when they asked, what do you want to be? People would say, like, I want to be a fireman, or I want to be a policeman, or I want to be a trapeze artist, or whatever. Now they're saying, I want to be a content creator. Wow. I want to be a content creator. And that means doing kind of what we're doing right here, which is here on all these different platforms right now. By the way, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to the show. And we are bringing a lot of value because of the guests that we're bringing on, and of course the wonderful music that I'll be imparting a little later. When I just twinkle the ivories a little bit and sing, I got to sing for my supper. I've got all these folks here that are subscribing, and they expect a song or two every night, you know what I'm saying, during the week. So I'm happy to oblige.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Too. I'm a fan as well.
Well, I think I can.
And I told you that before I started. You have to sing.
I truly believe that I can help you out on that one, sister.
Thank you.
And I want to thank everyone that pitched in and helped me to get my beautiful Sennheiser microphone as well. That is going to help me as I sing my beautiful song tonight. So I want to thank everyone. Oh my God, I've got Tina in the house. My God, Suvermess is here. Okay. I am so glad everyone is here because I want to jump straight into this interview with Jessica. So we were talking at dinner about our background, which is the church, and one of the things that I think that many people that knew me when I was younger they might have thought that I really wasn't happy about my upbringing, which I wasn't for some of it I wasn't happy. But now that I'm a little older, I realize that a lot of the things that I was taught and the way I was raised really was of great value.
Right.
That said, there were some mean-ass people in that church.
Oh!
And so on this show we talk a lot about unconditional love.
Yes.
And this
One
was
of
the
my core
message,
values.
core values for Jessica. And a core value for, we call ourselves Christians, for Christ, Jesus Christ. So his number one message was what? Unconditional love. Right. So we as going through the coronavirus and having to look at myself and mistakes that I've made and things that I have at priorities that were not in their right order and things like that, and having to admit that to myself, which did not make me happy, but I was able to do it. Somehow, God blessed me to look at that man in the mirror and ask him if he could change his ways. And no message could have been any clearer. If I wanted to make the world a better place, I had to take a look at myself and make that change. Okay, wait. Okay. So,
I love it. I love it.
Okay. So, and I know that LaQuay is going to let me know that I need to stop talking and allow the guests to talk every now and then.
No, please. We love what you're saying.
All right, so we come from the church, and let's start there, because a lot of people that grow up associate the church with high ideals and morals and values and all those kind of things. But sometimes we can be crushed or hurt in the church. So tell us about the beginning of your journey to get to the point where you would write a book about unconditional love.
Woo! Wow. I grew up in the church, yes. But I did not grow up in a loving environment. Mm-hmm. So there were lots of traumatic experiences. I grew up not loved, and I remember at a very young age, so young. I think I was in elementary school when I had this resolve, and I remember just being so disconnected from my biological family that I remember just saying to myself, I'm gonna be on my own. Like, I guess I didn't realize it then, but the process of not having expectations anymore, mm-hmm. And realizing that I was gonna have to create my own happiness, mm-hmm. The realization that I would have to redefine what it meant to, what it would mean to be a part of a family. Mm-hmm. It was very serious. Mm-hmm. And so that's really where the journey began. It began with growing up in a very dysfunctional home.
And a very cold environment. I totally mm-hmm. identify with what you're saying, because the church members, mm-hmm. they look at you and they see a perfect nuclear family. Because
my goodness,
you're
yes.
presenting.
Oh, we
you're
presented.
Oh yeah.
Oh my, because I always had joy.
Yeah.
I must say,
yeah.
my joy was really genuine though. Mm-hmm. Okay, and it's it's ironic to talk about it, because on the one hand I had a lot of joy, but on the other hand there was a lot of pain.
Right. Yes. Absolutely. Well, it's almost like for me. Mm-hmm. I was taught, I think for myself, even when I went to therapy for the abuse that I underwent, which a lot of people think that that abuse is when someone throws hot scalding water on you or hits you or beats you or whatever. But one of the things I learned in therapy was that abuse takes on many forms and many faces. And the greatest form of abuse is neglect, because it sets up within a child not very important or very valuable. And I think that that's what happened to a lot. Not only did you have the church, which kind of, in a way that was invisible, took so much from you because you were busy presenting and oh, my mic is echoing. Oh, is that better, everyone? Yeah. So, you know, I'm jumping straight into some very deep conversation, but before we go any further, I want to know a little bit more about Robin. Robin, I've got Robin. I want to know more about Jessica and more about her background and where she comes from, and yeah. So go ahead.
So my background, like you mentioned earlier, is in PR. And prior to that, I was a journalist and also a producer for a radio show.
Okay.
And so, creating content, messaging, story angles, you know, finding out what is going to, how are we going to engage our audience? What do we need to talk about? What conversation do we need to have? And so that was how this all started. And now, now everything has evolved, because a lot of times when clients come to me, it is for PR because they need publicity. But what I find that people seek me out for the most is really damage control. Because some of them come from jobs and have had experiences where maybe something happened, or that they needed to, part of their image that, a perception about them that needs to be changed. And so I have a very strategic way that I go about doing that. That is proprietary to me.
So what she's basically saying is, if you want it, you're gonna have to hire her to get it, and that's how you're gonna get it. Let's talk about where we are in the world today, because we'll circle back around to unconditional love. So you've written for a lot of publications, magazines.
Yes, I've written. I'm a writer for Heart and Soul magazine. I'm a writer for Sheen magazine, which they, despite the pandemic, continue to print their magazines. They're available at Barnes and Nobles and your local drugstores, and so I'm proud of that. Also have bylines at Essence Magazine and Medium.com, and it's continuing to grow. So as time progresses, you will begin to see my influence with the media and on different platforms expand.
Right. So, but the biggest place where people are getting their information now is right here on this computer. They're getting their information on the internet. And we were talking. Oh my God, you got a fan here. We've got my friend laughing, saying more Jessica, less Alan. That's not very nice. You haven't changed either, Jamie. I'm a bust you out. Not James, Jamie. I know you. I knew you went. All right, so let's go, Jessica. You are great, and with all the respect of the world, you are beautiful. Oh,
thank you.
Wow, that's
Appreciate
really nice.
compliment.
Thank you, Superman, so much. And so we're going to continue on with the interview because there's so much she has to say. We were talking about where we are in the world now, the internet, and how so many young people now are looking to be creating their own content on the internet. And so, but basically, they don't realize they may do a little video in their bedroom and it might go viral, and then some people might not like what they were saying, and it can all go very bad for them. And so you were talking about damage control. You were talking about how to deal with, God forbid, if something goes wrong and you're out there with millions of people all angry with you or something like that, right?
It's so, I think one of the first things I always tell my clients is, number one, first and foremost, be true to you, okay? We have different personalities, we have, different belief systems, we have different values. And so I always tell people, be yourself. Don't try to portray yourself in a way, on camera or even for people to read about, and then that's not who you really are. Because when they meet you and they find that who you portray yourself to be and who you really are is not congruent, then now you have damaged the trust. You have compromised your brand, because that is not who you are. And your audience fell in love with you based upon who their perception of you. So the first thing I will always say before we get into damage control is be yourself. Like Steve Jobs, okay? A lot of people I know in business do not like Steve, okay? They say he had a nasty attitude. But what people have to realize, Steve Jobs was still, he was still successful, and people still liked him because they liked that about him. They liked the fact that he was straightforward. Like even Dr. Phil, everybody fell in love with his straightforward honesty. And so everybody's approach is not going to be tap you on the back and da 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 da. And so that's why it's so important to be yourself. That's number one. Number two, if you find that you have created content, it has gone viral and people don't like it, okay? That's okay. Right. Because Wendy Williams has a different audience from Barbara Walters.
Kayla McEnany.
Yeah, right.
Kelly McEnany.
So I would say understand your brand. Understand the community that you are catering to and focus on that. So don't ever feel like you have to align yourself with someone else's value system or the community that they've built, because every show is unique. Your show is unique. When I first came on, what was my first question to you? Tell me about your show. Why do people tune into you? Right. Why? What is it? What are you promising your viewers? Okay.
I can tell you right now what I'm promising them.
Tell me.
I'm promising them a huge set of two front teeth right here. You know what I'm saying? It's valuable. You know, someone asked me if I would mind letting them have those two chiclets, and I said, I don't have any chiclets. They said, yes, you do, your two front teeth. Right. All right, anyway. Well,
it's important that I finish, they understand. So that's the first thing. Always be true to who you are. Okay, because Wendy Williams is still successful despite the fact that people don't like the fact that she gossips. She still has an audience. So be clear about who you really are. Right. Okay. Now, once authenticity. Right.
That's the word.
It is okay. Please be liberated.
Yes.
Please don't ever.
Yeah.
It is okay to be yourself. Now,
I thought it was
if you go viral,
I'm so excited about that. All right.
If you go viral,
yes,
and someone does not receive you the right way,
yes,
okay, now that has to be handled on a case-by-case basis, because what was the problem when it went viral? Did you make a racist comment? Did you, or did someone have a problem with your core value itself? You know, did you make a comment about a politician? Are you a Trump supporter, or are you a Biden supporter, and someone is a Democrat or a Republican, and you get what I'm saying? So that a lot of people who were starting to get into trouble were getting in trouble because they always say, what did they tell you when you were growing up? The three most controversial conversations you could ever have is about sex,
right,
race, and religion.
Isn't that interesting?
So I guess from a standpoint of damage control, I would first need to know, is this something that really had to do with your core values or the culture that you built within your organization? Or is it something that genuinely offended someone? Because if you offended someone, if you said something about someone's sexuality, if you said something about race that offended someone, I don't feel like you should have, me personally, now as a journalist, I do not feel like you should have to lie or pretend to not support a political candidate if you really support them. Or if you are a homosexual and you are for homosexuality and that's okay with you, you shouldn't have to say you're not just because you're a Christian. You get what I'm saying? And so, I'm so sorry.
No.
So so that's the first thing when it comes to damage control. Now, if it's something that has to do with you and integrity in your character, for instance, if you offended someone, or if you lied, or if you did something that was wrong and you really do need to fix it, then you need to apologize to the person. I believe in being honest, and I believe in being truthful. And my philosophy is try to live your life in a way so that if somebody heard the conversation that you had in private, or if they had to go back and pull up your emails and your text messages, like they like to put these people on blast, that is something that is, again, congruent with your core values. Because you can all, I'm sorry.
I'm just so happy that everyone knows that I'm crazy. And I'm so happy that everybody knows that I do whatever I feel like doing when I feel like doing it. So that when they pull up my emails and they see all kinds of mess, you know what I'm saying? They won't be surprised. Right, exactly. So,
Stop right there.
Yeah.
Because you were not pretending. That is what gets
Right.
everybody in trouble.
Right.
There's nothing.
Right.
You don't need a damage control. Damage control is not for people
Right.
who are true to themselves.
Right.
And who have a public image and there's a perception about them that is congruent with who they really are. You start having to call in the experts and the crisis management team when you are not congruent with who you are. And so that's why it's so interesting when people ask me questions like that, and my answer will always be the same. Be true to who you are, and you know, don't pretend to be someone that you're not. Because there is nothing to defend, there is nothing to hide if that's who you are. Just like you said.
And I want to say something, and I want to say this to everyone out there. By the way, we want to thank everyone for coming on. I want to encourage you to ask any questions that you have now that we're into the conversation. You're a part of it. So please feel free to ask a few questions here. You know, you know, you're talking about being authentic, and you're talking about how important that is, but then something goes wrong. And what are the fundamentals of damage control? What are the things that we need to know about how to defend ourselves? Because sometimes it's like, I may do something wrong and I may think, I want to go and hide. I don't want anyone to see me, and I don't want to say anything because if I may say something and it may make things worse, right? So the bottom line is, when do you not say something? When do you say something? When do you, I mean, you know, can you help us with that?
Every situation is case by case basis, and it depends on the person. That really is a very difficult question to ask because, for instance, what if someone had a confidentiality agreement in place with someone that they were working with and something happened? You can't speak openly about it. You get what I'm saying? So that is a very difficult question to answer.
But let's just say you can speak openly. And something goes down and it's embarrassing.
For instance, give me an example. I want to be specific.
For instance, you were running for president and then you ended up sleeping with a porn star. You know what I'm saying?
Well, then you need to come clean immediately. Don't hide it. And see, this is where a lot of people go wrong with damage control. If you are a person that is in the public eye and you are an elected official or running for public office, and you have a weakness, okay? Let's say you're married and you have had affairs, okay?
For the flesh.
Right, for the flesh. You need to be, don't hide it. Right. Because here's what's gonna, especially if there has been more than one occasion, okay, with multiple people. Because here's what will happen: multiple people will begin to come forward, okay, right. And that's just gonna make it worse. If you tell the truth from the beginning, yes, this happened, I had a problem. Okay, I believe in straightforward. That's my approach. I had a problem, and guess what? As the weeks go on, you may hear from more people.
Right. Okay, I want to talk about this because you've read the book 1984 by George Orwell. Have you read it?
I haven't.
Okay, you haven't. Okay. Well, the thing that scared the shit out of me about that book was basically that they can create a scenario in which your brother may call and turn you in, or your sister may call and turn you in. Everybody's turning each other in.
Nothing. That's why it all goes back to the root. There is nothing. Listen, remember, it was T.D. Jakes. Let me give you a prime example. And this is, pay attention. Get your pen and paper. I am teaching you. Listen. It all goes back to your core value. It all goes back to your core value. Okay? And you can't take God out of this. I'm going to tell you why. What does the Bible say? When they all got together and they were about to throw those stones at that lady that committed adultery.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Jesus came.
He said, "He who is without sin cast the first stone." Okay. Brandon, tip number 1. PR tip number 1. Do not live your life judging people. All right. Always always consider what is your core value in everything that you do, like unconditional love, right? That is one of my core values. That is who I am.
Yes.
So now, when I do my outreach to the prisoners, and somebody committed murder, or I'm going back and forth with people on death row, and they're like, oh, if somebody was to pull that up and say, Jessica, why is she associating with these people? Because love is my core value.
Right.
Because I believe that no matter who you are, what you did, where you came from, or where you're going, you deserve to be loved unconditionally.
Absolutely.
Not because of you're worthy of it or you deserved it. Because remember now, if we're going to take Jesus as our, you and I, we do love Jesus.
Yes.
And he's our example, right? And what does it say? He loved us while you were yet in sin.
Right.
Not, oh, well, you deserved it. Oh, he's good enough, so I'm going to give him this love. That's fake love.
Right.
That's not unconditional love. Because if you love someone, you will find that what you end up doing, you will find that you love people who need your love in order to be free. And that's why, as I began to go, God began to bring me deeper and deeper into the soils of love. I found myself associating with who? Gangsters,
Right.
thugs,
Right.
people going to the nursing home,
Right.
and adopting elderly people who who were neglected and abandoned by their families.
That's right.
I found myself aligning with widows who had lost their husbands, who would go to church every Sunday. Hey, how you doing, sister? Okay, God bless you. I'm gonna pray for you. But instead, I'm like, how can I pay your bills? And so I found that through loving. So I guess my point is, be clear, get clear about what your core value is, because that is what's gonna protect you in the end.
Yes.
If you have mercy as your core value, right? And you're the person, your messaging is always, hey, we all make mistakes. Hey, what did the Bible say? A righteous man fall down 7 times, but he gets back up again. If you live your life that way, then guess what? When you fall down, no one is going to throw a stone at you, because you never went around judging anyone. And so what happens is, and that's why I said in the beginning, pay attention to what I said at the beginning. How you build your brand, your personal brand of your life, the values. And they say, well, what's the values? Well, values start with identity and with character. With what does it say? We were made in his image and after his likeness, right? You can't do branding or PR without first understanding that scripture. It all boils down to, you were created in his image after his likeness. Well, what does it mean? I was created in his image. Well, what is God's character? His nature is to love.
Right. So I just want to get very clear. What I'm hearing you say is that the trick is to not have a trick.
Right.
The trick is to discover,
Right.
really, more than anything, the trick is to discover who you are and what you represent.
What you represent.
And then stick
to that.
Stick to that. Yeah, right.
Don't try to pretend to be someone that you're not.
So you're in real trouble if you don't know who you are.
You
You're
are
out
in trouble because
in the
your
public
whole
eye.
life,
Right.
yes, because now your whole life, and for the record, when I first started out in PR and doing crisis management, my approach was a little different. But now it's like, you know what? If you're wrong and you can't admit you're wrong, I don't even want to deal with you.
Right.
Because in my opinion, you really don't need to be in office.
Right.
If you can't be honest with yourself,
Right. Right.
then you can never be honest with the people.
Right.
And you can't build trust when people don't trust you. Why don't you make me get up out my seat? How are you gonna build trust?
Right. So, all right. So this is very interesting because this is something we're living in a post-truth world. I feel that I've often said on this show, and I've been talking a lot about, people ask me, what do you see that's different? I say what's different is that there's been a great divide, a great division. And I want to scroll up here. We've got a question up here from James Stevens that I want to ask you right after I say this. But I feel that we've basically split into those that are seeking truth and those that are not seeking truth. I watch the news sometimes and I see people that I can tell they know that they don't believe what they're saying, but they're saying it anyway. And it's very sad. I want to read James Stevens' questions, and then I want to scroll up and ask any other questions. So Jessica, don't you think that the cancel culture society we live in now is trying to change who we are, whether it's right or wrong, change our values so it conforms to what the masses want us to believe?
That's a very interesting question.
question.
That's a very interesting question. And I'm going to first respond to it from the perspective of a journalist. I am a journalist first, okay? Before I'm a producer, before I'm a publicist, crisis management, I'm a journalist first. And that means that I believe that people should be free to, if you're, whatever it is that you believe or however it is that you feel or whatever your truth is, the journalist is not supposed to take sides.
Right.
They're supposed to allow you to speak your truth. And nothing should be judgmental. The whole point should be to understand you
Present the facts.
and to present the facts.
Right.
Now, how the people respond to those facts, again, it all goes back to their value system, how they process information, the community that they're building, and the culture that they are creating within those communities. And so whenever you have situations where people say, cancel this, cancel that, because someone doesn't believe, because that's not their belief, that's not their truth. Well, here's what I would say. What was the question? Now that I've said that, what's the question?
Okay, so he was asking up here.
So I've said that now. What's the,
Yes.
okay.
Change
Is it
our
right or
value-
wrong?
So,
No, do not ever change your I cannot begin. Now you see why it's so
he's talking about cancel culture. He's saying, don't you think the cancel culture, society we live in now, which is basically saying, hey, if you are saying things that we don't want, that we don't feel, and this has become very partisan, shall we say? The Republicans have been accused of basically inciting a riot and insurrection at the Capitol. And so many of those accounts on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter have been canceled. And this is just the prime example that we're using cancel culture. And so a lot of people are saying, hey, this is dangerous, right? Just because I have an opinion that, where do you draw the line? I guess, have you thought about this? Because, you could be causing violence out there with what you're writing or what you're putting, the clips that you're putting up. Should you be canceled?
Okay, that's a very interesting point of view. Here's the thing. If what you are doing is inciting hatred, and like what we saw demonstrated at the Capitol, you are wrong. You are wrong. There is a way to present your beliefs. For instance, I know Republicans who voted for, I know black people, who I was surprised, who voted for Donald Trump. It had nothing to do with racism. It had nothing to do, it had to do with the tax incentives. It had to do, and so be careful. I mean, listen, if that's who you are, you definitely don't need to be promoting hate speech or encouraging others to hate other people because of their religious or their background. Yeah, I have to draw the line with that. But that's just so interesting because you don't. Here's the thing. You have to draw the line. You can't promote hate and violence. However, the problem with that, I'm going to tell you what the problem with that is. See, this is why people go to the Ku Klux Klan. And they start these underground secret societies because now you made them conform and now they go into hiding. Sometimes it's best for people to come out so that they can be addressed publicly.
Right.
And they need people who are going to challenge those ideals that they've been taught and say, hey, you are wrong and this is why. And so, that's just such a sensitive subject because you don't want, you really, now this is my way of life and how I deal with people. And this is why I always operate from the stance of a journalist when I approach situations. I have people come out.
Is your fan? He's like, let them show themselves. Let them.
Yes. And see, whoever said that, again, that's the question. And I can only answer it based on how I interact with people and how I deal with people.
It's very
well. Here's the thing.
Okay.
Here's the thing. If someone was truly a racist, wouldn't you want to know?
Yes, I would.
Would you really want someone to come into
Part
your
of me,
life?
part of me would want to know, and part of me doesn't want to know. The part of me that doesn't want to know doesn't want to hear someone say something mean to me.
Mm-hmm.
But then the part of me that does want to know wants to be protected, doesn't want to get sideswiped.
Because
And
a part of the reason why so many people felt comfortable, I've had people admit a lot of things to me. I've even had people admit to murder during some of my interviews that I never judged them. But a part of that is because I am not judgmental, and so I would have to say that that's a personal decision that you would have to make. Now, me, I want to know. So that's why, again, that goes back to your core value. How you want people to respond to you and how you want people to interact with you, you have to create that culture. You have to create that with your values. So if you come off and you I don't like this, I don't like that, then nobody's going to be their true self around you. And I think that that's what's dangerous.
I want to say something because this is really, really something that I have to admit was a major theme. And then we're going to, and you've got a fan that agrees with you so hard. All in caps, by the way, enemy. Thank you very much.
That is very dangerous. I want to say that again. It is very dangerous for you to be so closed-minded and think that people around you, everybody agrees with you and believes everything you believe, because no, they don't.
Right.
And if you find that that's happening to you, I want to say you're in trouble.
Well, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of folks in trouble right now because there's a lot of folks, you know what I'm saying? Let's look at what Laquaque is saying. How does one discover and clarify what their core values are? What are yours, Jessica? Do you have multiple?
My core values is unconditional love. And how that, how I demonstrate that is, I love the scripture that says, love your enemies, do good to people that hate you, bless those who curse you. Right. So when I have an enemy, and if I know this person doesn't like me, I actually go out of my way to love them. Like, right. How can I be your friend? Hey, I'm going to Starbucks, and I'm bringing, and I just go out of my way because that's what God says to do.
That's right.
And it works all the time.
And you'll find out that when you do the unconditional love thing, some of the people that you had the worst relationships with, it may take a few years, but if you continue to love them and you're authentic, and you don't force it, don't be phony about it, but if you continue to love them, when the universe gives you the opportunity to show a little love, it just breaks it. You can see it starting to break down till finally you have the rapport again, or that it's brought. Now sometimes you have to leave people all the way alone because there's some, you know what I'm saying. So let's talk a little bit about where we are in the world and what the biggest question that I had. Alan's not going to be able to keep up with my questions on race. Do you think that it's taught? I go back to when I was 10 years old playing at the playground with other kids. Race was never a factor, so what changes? So in other words, because Jamie is one of our Caucasian brothers, wonderful heart, I know that for a fact, but I think people are starting to ask a lot of questions, you know what I'm saying, about white fragility, of course, which we've been talking a lot about that. We've been talking about.
I've had white people to tell me, and this goes back to the young lady that says, well, Jessica, what's your core value? That's why I say that is a very difficult, when you start talking about race, that's a very difficult question to answer as to how do you respond to it, because it goes back to everybody's core value. How you respond is always going to be based on your core value. So let me tell you a specific situation where I had to respond to someone who was racist towards me. I was working at a job that required me to be with the public. And I had such a great experience with this one group of Caucasian people that came in, and they were like, oh, we love you. I'm gonna have to go and take my hat out of my attic, Jessica. And and he said, you know what that means. And we were in Florida, and I know that a lot of people in Florida, that's just how they were raised. That's how it was.
Well, I don't know what that means.
That means that he had a Ku Klux Klan hat hanging in his attic, and it was still there. Probably Grandpa left it there.
Oh, that means I got to get rid of it because I like you so much. Oh my God! Wow. Yeah.
But he had a good experience with me, and I looked at him and I told him, I said, you know what? I'm not even mad at you. Right. Again, how you respond is always going to go back to your core value.
Right.
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 And for me, my core value is love. And so I'm glad that he had that experience with me with a black person that he probably stereotyped.
Right.
I'm glad that I responded in a way that was loving, because I believe that experiences like that melts their heart. Like, wow, how am I'm so hatred, and this person was so kind to me. Let me throw that hat away.
It really
Your greatest influence is with love. I'm telling you, that's why we're having this discussion today.
Well, it's
That's why
that,
I'm here.
God gave me that message years ago, about 15 years ago, because I was really struggling. Actually, it was longer. It was more like 25 years ago. I would play shows at the House of Blues and all around the world when I had my record deal, and people would run backstage and say, "I saw God. I feel like I was in church. And I'd be upset because I wanted to be a rock star. I want to, you know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So people saw me as this minister of sorts, and my father was a minister. I didn't have anything to do with it, right?
Right.
Nothing to do with it at all. Trust me. So now I'm not fighting that anymore, because I realize it's what I authentically am. I want to talk about something a theme you've been hitting on that is very esoteric, actually, something that I've been studying. Oftentimes people say that Jesus belonged to a sect called the Essenes, which were Gnostics. They believed in having direct contact with God. A lot of people, we were talking about this earlier, don't ever take out time to look at the thread that's running through the Bible, which is that all the way from Adam through Paul, really, and John, the Revelator, they all had transpersonal experiences. They all saw, a wheel within a wheel, or they walked with God in the garden, or so it wasn't that difficult for them to have that blind faith. It wasn't so blind because they had a transpersonal experience.
Right.
These experiences are still happening even now. But one of the precepts that is talked about in the Essenes, and when you really begin to study the mechanics of how to get closer to God, it talks about really inspecting yourself to see where your triggers are, to see where things have been set up inside of you, that when someone behaves a certain way and snags onto that jagged edge that you've got inside of you, they get hung on it, and you're watching them, and you're getting upset, and it triggers you.
Can I say something?
I mean, I just want to complete this out, because the thing is that unconditional love to me is about taking down those idols, those things inside that maybe we don't even know are there, that are triggers, things that could set us off, things that would cause us to judge, because we know when you spot it, you got it. When you see it in someone else, you probably have it in yourself, or you wouldn't even be able to see it. So I want to just ask you a little bit about those kind of things,
Yeah, I have a very powerful message to share pertaining to the story that you just spoke of. And you mentioned earlier about another scenario. Here's the thing. You spoke earlier about the type of wounds that happen when you're younger, in your childhood specifically. And I want a lot of people out there to know this. This is scientifically proven, that if between the ages of 7, they have scientists that have proven this. If between the ages of, I believe it's 7 and 11, if you have been either sexually abused, emotionally abused, rejected, physically abused, or I think the other one was, I can't remember the 5th one, but it was 5 of them. Then what happens is your body, when you turn 12, I believe, if I recall correctly, when you turn 12, certain chemicals are set up to come into your system to mature you. But what happens is when you have those experiences during that particular time of your life, your body continuously releases different chemicals that are pushing the chemicals that you need to come in, like the dopamine, the serotonin, the norepinephrine. And so they call it a fixation. So you're actually stuck in this place where chemically your body, that's why a lot of times the psychologists will say, oh, they have a chemical imbalance, and that's true. Well, we got to give them they need more dopamine, or they were depressed because they didn't have enough serotonin. That is true, because your body is stuck into this fight or flight mode where it's constantly releasing these chemicals because you are still stuck mentally or emotionally in the place, and your body is releasing chemicals, and the other chemicals that were supposed to come in never got a chance to come in. I could go on. Okay, now here's the problem. Here's the problem. So here's the problem. Here's the answer. I have a solution.
I love it.
Here's what happens. Number one, you have to remember this. You cannot reject yourself. Okay? I don't care what you have done. I don't care what was done to you.
Did you hear that?
You cannot reject yourself because that is a part of who you are. So when you reject yourself, that is a part of your heart that is broken, right? So you can never be whole until that part of you accept. Now, what is acceptance? Now we need to start redefining what it means to accept, okay? And what it means, and again, we can't take unconditional love out of the equation. When whatever memory it is, for instance, let's say you have a memory that causes you trauma, okay? The power in that trauma is the lie that you began to believe about yourself as a result of what happened. So for instance, if you were raised in a foster home and your parents had to give you up for adoption, and your trauma is that you feel like you were abandoned and neglected, right? So you have to first identify the lie. I wasn't worthy enough, or I wasn't good enough, or, because that's the lie you begin to believe about yourself, right? And you don't have the understanding at that moment, at that time in your life to realize, this wasn't my fault. This had nothing to do with me. But you think at that time you thought, oh, I must be a bad person. What's wrong with me? But there was nothing ever was wrong with you. Okay? So the first thing you have to do, you have to identify that lie. What lie is it that I believe? Did your parents mistreat you? Did you grow up in a bad situation where you're traumatized? Well, guess what? What you have to do is, whatever that lie is and whatever that fear is, you have to identify the lie and the fear. So if the lie is, I must not be good enough, I'm not valuable, then you have to, first you got to forgive the person. First of all, you really do have to forgive. There's no such thing as you being free, whole and healed if you did not forgive the person that offended you. Right. Because what the Bible says, what you retain will be retained, and what you remit will be remitted. Meaning you cannot hold somebody hostage and think you're gonna be free. Until you free them, you are not gonna be free. So first thing you need to do, I'm almost done. Let me get that. Okay, first thing to do, forgive the person. Get on your knees and pray. Forgive the person that hurt you. All right. The next thing you do, identify the lie. Whatever it was you believed about yourself. If you thought I wasn't valuable, I wasn't good enough as well as I'm a bad person, then you get the word of God. What it say? I am a good person because I'm a partaker of God's divine nature. I am a child of God. Whatever it is that you need to believe. I try to find the scriptures. You need to replace that lie with the truth. Now, whatever it is that you fear. Now, once you identify the lie and you replace it with the truth, now whatever it is that you fear. So if you fear, I don't have a family. But the Bible says I placed a solitary in families, meaning you will never be without a family because God will always put you in a family. And he said, I'm the father to the fatherless. Okay? So then your soul cries out, God, you my father. And in fact, show me, prove me, try me this day and show me, and just wait and see how he proves it. So, no. So, many are the lies and many are the fears. But I want you to know the promise, the power is in the lie. So once you rob the lie, the power is gone. And forgive the person and whatever you fear. Again, for me, I like to find certain Bible scriptures. Okay. Whatever I fear, I bring it under subjection. Some people like to use that scripture. What? No weapon formed against me will prosper. When somebody come, I got an enemy, somebody hate me. No weapon formed against me will prosper. And guess what? Every stumbling block will be converted into a stepping stone. And God gonna cause everything to work together for my good. The bad things and the good things that were done, because by his grace, he'll cause it to work together for my good.
I personally, I agree with you.
Okay.
But now this is what I'm going to say, and then I want to speak to what Jamie said, because I feel like it's important, and we're going a little over time tonight because we've got so many wonderful people on, and everyone is just sharing their questions here. You know, I just want to say that when you talk about what David said, you know, don't let my enemies overtake me, protect me from those that would tear me down, keep me from those that would slander me. You know, we hear these prayers throughout the Bible. What I have learned is that, okay, go with me here, because this is kind of an interesting one. The stronghold is set up in my mind. This person may or may not be my enemy, but if it's set up in my mind that they're an enemy, if I can tear it down in my own mind, it goes way out there. If I can tear down my fear of that person and what they might say, what they might do in my own mind, it disappears in the 3D. This is the magic that the Bible, that Jesus was talking about. We pray and ask for the fear to be removed inside of us, and the situation dispels out in 3D. I want to speak to what Jamie was talking about, because I feel like he was really speaking about a pickle that a lot of young white kids find themselves in when they are raised in homes where maybe their grandparents or maybe their parents might say racist things. And I happen to believe that part of the programming of us humans is done by osmosis. We're just kind of growing up in a certain kind of energy field, a certain kind of home, and then we find ourselves mimicking or modeling or reflecting that kind of behavior. And some of that behavior is good, and some of that behavior is bad. Today, a friend of mine was pointing out that sometimes I try to act like I know stuff when I don't, or I try to behave as if well, that's what my father's a minister. He had to act like he knew everything, right? I could never do I don't think I ever heard my father say, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I wanted to throw out there, was just, when you stop to think about how we build up in our own minds fear towards others, but when we go into our minds and we begin to tear those things down and we approach them different in 3D, they no longer have their power.
That's a very interesting point of view.
Yeah. I don't know if Jessica's like,
Well, no, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. You're saying that could be your own disillusion.
But that's been the big twist. I was given this right before coronavirus hit, and I was doing some studying, and what they were saying was, it's not real. It's not real.
Now, this goes back to knowledge and understanding, because then now that opens up another question. Well, what are the characteristics of an enemy? What are we using as a radar of some sort to detect when someone is being an enemy? Now, there was a young man. Have you ever heard of Mike Murdoch? They call him I guess his emphasis is on wisdom. And he, for instance, he said, an enemy is anybody that always brings up your past. An enemy is, how else did he begin to characterize someone that tries to weaken the influence of people who are around you. Like people that he know who support you, but now they go in and try to weaken them.
Right.
The enemy, what else did he say? The enemy is anyone
Well, they sow seeds of doubt.
Yeah,
They sow
I believe
seeds of doubt. They also, and I believe what he's saying is they talk bad about you around other people. They try to weaken your influence or try to weaken you.
They try to weaken, right? So I think when we talk about that from the perspective of disillusionment, we have to be clear about. That's the whole other show in and of itself.
And I want to
defining what it really means to have an enemy.
So everyone, I want to ask you a question. Would you like for me to invite Jessica back onto the Allen Show to have another interview? I think so. If you loved having Jessica on today, we've got yes, please. And aren't my friends amazing? I've got the best friends, and they're so smart, and they've done such great, Jessica's done huge jobs out there and represented some of the bright stars of our world. I'm going to play a song, even though we're already in overtime, just because I know that some people tune in to hear me
play and sing, and I know Jessica had asked earlier to hear a song. So I'm going to get myself set up on the piano. I don't know if LaQueque wants to come and turn on the other camera to catch another angle. Oh, I see. Well, I think I can just come over here. I'd like to dedicate this to Jamie, who has not seen fit to give me a call since we graduated from high school, but he has plenty to say tonight. So, thank you so much, everyone, and I do so appreciate all of my high school friends, and I'm soon going to be with many of my high school friends because our 35th high school graduation anniversary is coming up. Trying to tighten up there we go. All right. How's everything sounding, everyone? Can you hear the Fender Rhodes? Oh, oh, oh. I'm gonna try this because I want. Can everybody hear that?
Yes,
Can you hear that? Because I know Jessica wasn't able to hear it. So what we've done is we've gotten fancy.
Okay.
And we have the in-ear monitors now, and but Jessica can't hear because we don't have her on in-ear monitors. And you know, normally what we would do is wire everybody up that comes into the studio. But tell me now, was the love I had to have everything I thought it'd be? Turn around, see your reflection in the tears. My heart is setting free. When I think all the times I gave to you, I loved you through and through. I gave my heart, I gave my soul. Now I'm crying out my eyes. All the joy and happiness fades away, 'cause I thought that you loved me all the way. The pain that joy will bring at the end when everything's gone away. Waking up into a dream that just became my worst reality. Stepping out into a place I did not know till the day you set me free. When I think all the times I gave to you, I loved you through and through. I gave my heart, gave my soul. Now I'm crying out my eyes.
Alan.
Oh, I thought that you loved me all the way. The pain that joy will bring when everything is gone away. Everything is gone away. Everything is gone away. Gone away. Ooh, ooh, ooh,
Lord have mercy.
When I think of all the times I gave to you, all of it, through and through. I gave my heart, gave my soul. Now I'm crying out, crying out, crying out, crying my eyes. All the silver lining now turns to gray, 'cause I thought that you loved me all the way. The pain that joy will bring, everything is gone away. Everything gone away. When everything is gone away. Yeah.
Lord have mercy. Sing it again.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming
Yes.
on tonight. I want to just scroll through. Wow, Lisa,
Wow.
thank you so much, Lisa. I appreciate you. And let me tell you, that's not a... And to everyone, G. Savory, James Stevens, LaQuay, I'm my worst enemy. And I know I've missed some. I saw Tina on here earlier. And I want to thank you so much, Jessica, for coming in and bringing your light. Everyone,
Yes.
we're going to have Jessica back again. As a matter of fact, I think Jessica needs her own stream show or something, you know what I'm saying? Because she's just amazing. It's like it just pops up. Alan's not going to be able to... Oh, wait, no, I'm reading old questions. Hold on. You know what? We're going to continue this conversation because this show is all about... thank you so much.
Oh, I just want you to say that one more time. Yes.
All right, well, maybe I will give Jessica one more song once we've... Well, let me ask. Should I sing one more song, everyone?
One
Does
more
everyone
song.
want to hear one more song? Okay.
No, I want you to sing the
Okay.
same one again.
I can't do that. Okay, one more song. All right, I'm going to sing one more song that goes kind of with what we're talking about. I'm going to sing Love Supreme because that song, which is going to be the single off of this EP, this song is all about what we need, which is unconditional love, love supreme. I consider love supreme to be unconditional. And just so everyone knows, the first verse says, staring at the sky, looking at time gone by, covered faces, talking about masks, catch the corner of my eye. Is this my life? Is this a dream? Why does my heart feel everything? Staring down the road at what we're about to walk through. When I think about all the craziness that could come to pass, I find myself asking myself, what should I do? Instead of asking myself, what should I do? I stand to my feet, I lift up my head, I lift up my heart, I lift up my hands. For love supreme is the one that heals every heart. We're all a part of the love supreme. So yes, this project is kind of an updated. I'm not trying to compare myself because I hate when people try to compare singers to Marvin Gaye. No one can ever do what he did. He's one of the most sublime singers in the world. I try to mimic him every now and then, but I feel like I want to channel the energy of what's going on, the album, what's going on, because I feel like we're back in that kind of a moment in the world now. So Love Supreme. I'm just going to sing the first verse and the hook of it, and then we're going to sign off, and I'll see you guys Monday. And we're going to be back here, just so everyone knows, we're going to be here from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and then we're going to take a break from 8 to 8:30, then we're coming back, and we'll probably be here till 4 o'clock in the morning recording the EP. So if you want to see me do my process of working on music, then tune in. You can tune in for 10 minutes, or you can tune in for 4 hours or 5 hours or whatever. Love Supreme, here we go. All right.
Don't let your love die, baby. Won't you let it glow? Oh, and you'll see. Don't let your love die, baby. Yeah. Won't you let it glow?
All right, everybody, put your hands together. Come on, put them up.
I was staring at the sky, looking at time go by. Covered faces catch the corners of my eyes. Is this my life? Is this a dream? Why does my heart feel everything? Staring down the road, what we're about to walk through. Ask myself, what can I do? Lift up my head, lift up my heart, lift up my hands, lift up my hands for love supreme is the one, heals every heart. We're all the part, oh, of love supreme is the one, heals every heart. We're all a part, we're all a part of it, we're all a part of it. Oh.
All right, I want to thank everyone for coming out here tonight, and I appreciate you. I want to thank Jessica again. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Or
Such a
say
pleasure.
goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. Yeah, I'll be
And,
back. I will
yeah.
be back. I love the show.
I want to let you know that we really do love you unconditionally, and we start by loving ourselves and recognizing that there's always room to grow, there's always room to get better. Doesn't matter if you have a different opinion than us, or if you have a different affiliation with a different political party or whatever. We just want to keep that love vibration going. We want to keep that positivity going. So as we sign off tonight, I think we can both say, I love you,
We
right?
love you.
Yes, we love you. Good night. Unconditional.
Theme song.
Okay, I'm going to sing the theme song, which is the song for this show.
Okay.
Because I'm going to induct you into the family of cobblers. You are now officially a cobbler, which means that cobblers do everything everyone else does, but we lead with unconditional love. So I'm going to sing the theme song a cappella, okay?
Okay.
If you say you want to be happy, then just be happy. If you say you want to act kindly, then...
Just that kindly.
My name is Alan from South Los Angeles, Cobbler District, where there's only peace and joy and kindness. Bad vibes are restricted.
Folks are always talking about their light, their peace, their love. We cobblers often ask each other who they're speaking of. If you say you want to be happy, then just be happy like we cobblers do. Like we cobblers do 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 da do da do da do da do do down. Good night. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. See you Monday, 7 o'clock.